Welcome to the Orchestra Sings. So what does Link Up look like in 2020? We will be presenting the Orchestra Sings theme again this year, which really explores how melodies are made and how do orchestras sing. As the students explore, they will look at a range of orchestral music through a variety of listening activities, some work in improvisation and creativity, and then also preparing the music to play or sing, which could look very different this year. The concert experience, we're still working on that. We've explored a variety of different options. One is a live stream. One is partnering with another orchestra for the live stream or doing a recording. We're having some trouble with getting publishing rights actually for recording. And then music mentors, again, we aren't able to do that in person. So there are a couple of options with music mentors as well. We started recording some videos that we've shared with our patrons, and they're called HSO intermissions. And I'll show you how to get to those in a second. And all of our principal players have kind of recorded things about their instrument. And there's a couple of really good ones that I think the kids would enjoy from a Lincoln perspective too. I will keep working on the concert experience and keep you posted as much as possible. And then if there's, how can we help you? What can we do to make this easier for you? One of the suggestions that came out of the meetings was doing it on Zoom. So doing the music mentors actually through Zoom so there can be some back and forth. And if you have other ideas or things that are helpful, please share them with me and I would be more than happy to share them with the group. If you have ideas for other teachers or creative things that you have done in your classroom, feel free to share them because everybody's always looking for new ideas. So the resources are the same as they have been. You have your teacher guide, which all of you should have now, and the student guides are all online. So I will show you how to find the music for that. Recorders are something that you would provide if you're able to play. The audio and video resources, there's quite a few of them, and they're actually more this year than last year. And it's kind of exciting. So I'll show you what those look like. And then the online resources, the Facebook page. There are two that I think are really good. One is the Carnegie Hall Link Up Facebook page. You have to request to be a member of that. And the other is the Carnegie Hall Music Educators page. And I sent links to both of those in an email last night. The teacher guide, if you look at page 5, you see that each section will have an aim, a summary, the materials needed, the standards involved, and then the vocabulary that we're using for that particular section. The sections include your concert repertoire, the repertoire activities, instrument families, your concert experience, and then additional information. You look at page 6 in your teacher guide, you'll see that you have a variety of icons that you'll find throughout the music. So if you see the red icon with the computer, that's for your online use. Violin and recorder means that you can use the piece either on violin or recorder. The microphone indicates it's a singing piece, and then recorder star means that it's a little bit harder than the basic recorder. And if you look on page 6, you'll also see another one, and it's the movement icon, which we will have for Oye. There's 3 different program paths, and the wonderful thing about the Link Up material is that it is so flexible. And you're able to use it in a variety of different settings and with a variety of different students. So the basic program path, and these would be the minimum requirements for the concert experience or to get the most out of the concert experience. And that's where students learn to sing most of the music. So it'd be part 2 and Come to Play, Ode to Joy, Simple Gifts, and then Oye. We're not doing Bought Me a Cat. Students learn to play the following music, the New World Symphony, and then a variety of repertoire exploration activities. Your basic plus program path, where is everything in the basic path, plus you get to learn more parts and Come to Play and more verses in Oye and to make words sing. And you would learn to play part 2 of Come to Play, Simple Gifts, and Ode to Joy with some additional repertoire exploration. And then the advanced program path is everything in the first two, plus you end up being playing everything and you complete all of the repertoire exploration. So where this, like which one do I use? Well, it depends on the students that you have. If you have some that are more challenged, you may want to just stick with the basic program path. If you have some that are advanced, you may make it up to the advanced program path. If you are meeting with your students once every other week, you're probably not going to get through much more than the basic. If you're meeting with them twice a week, you might get to more of the things in the advanced. So you can feel free to mix and match, especially this year with the online and in-person meeting. Feel free to mix and match as you need to. The website. So it's kind of exciting. The website's been redesigned, and I think it is so much more intuitive and makes so much more sense than it did in the past. Excuse me. So looking at your main page, the orchestra sings, you have your concert repertoire exploration. All the tabs that you have in your teacher manual are right there. And those are clickable. So once you click on them, it brings you to that particular section. You have additional information about the composers, the sheet music index, audio, video indexes, and student activities. And the main page also has links to how to use the curriculum as well as the fundamentals. And then the link to the website I did send out in the email last night as well. SoundSlice is a program that now, and this is brand new, and I'm quite excited about it. It's customizable in its music education software, and the music notation goes along with the music. You hear the actual audio recording of it. You'll see SoundSlice window is available for each of the songs in the Orchestra Sings repertoire. So some of the basic functions. I also, in the email last night, included a cheat sheet so that you can find your way around if you need to, but it's pretty intuitive. Your basic functions, you can play and pause. So you can either use the play button or the space bar. Jumping, you can click on the note to jump ahead or back, and it's very seamless. So, all of these functions can actually be done while the music is playing. Looping is kind of fun. You can click and drag across a section to repeat. So if you're actually learning a section, it will go over and over again, and you can play it only once, and that would be customizable in the settings menu. You can change the speed. So let's say your kids aren't quite up to the 100% yet. You can back it down to 80% or whatever by just changing the number in the toolbar. There's a metronome, which you can do as a count in or play through the whole piece. You can change the mix of both what is shown on the screen as well as what you hear in the playback. You can adjust the instruments. There's a synthetic playback, and then as you go into that, you can mute or change the instruments as well. The metronome, we talked about the zoom, and then the settings menu, you also have the ability to transpose, toggle the various parts on and off, and then change how the music looks. So we're going to explore this with the come to play music. So I'm going to pop over first to the HSO website. So if we go to the Holland Symphony website, I'm going to go back up to the top. You will find a link up page under the Education and Community tab. And what we're trying to do is put all of the important links, and the SoundSlice cheat sheet should be there shortly as well. Then if you go all the way down, you see this HSO intermissions. There's a few of them, I think, that are really good for the kids, and I sent links to those in the email. One of them is, for example, Sarah Southard shows how to make oboe reeds. You have one of our percussionists talking about the marimba and mallets. You have Lauren, our violist, talking about her viola studio, and you can see all the different types of violins that are there. And then you have the Dykhouse family showing the string family as well. If we jump over to Carnegie Hall and then go back to the Orchestra Sings homepage. So this is the Orchestra Sings, and you see these various different toggleable links here, and this matches what you have in your teacher guide. You scroll down a little bit, you see the additional information, how to use a curriculum, and the basic fundamentals. And there's some really good vocal technique and recorder technique fundamentals actually in that section too. So if we go back up here to the concert repertoire, I'm going to work on Come to Play. So if you look at this, you see the repertoire at the beginning shows singing, basic, recorder, recorder star. So it means the harder part. Recorder notes that are needed for each one of the parts. So you can say, we're not going to be able to do part 3. Let's just do part 1. And then you can jump to the various sections. So the sheet music, you jump to that. This brings you to the sound slice, customizable music education program. You can also see down here, if I scroll down a little bit, you have the downloadable printable Come to Play sheet music or the Come to Play piano and vocal score. So Sound Slice is kind of cool. Get it back where it's in here. If you just hit play, and we can hit pause. We can change the speed. So let's back it down to 80%. You can change the parts that are showing and playing. So let's just say we just want the play along. We just want the accompaniment. Or maybe I want to do the voices as synthetic. And we'll back that down again. We're going to go back to all parts. This is kind of a fun feature. This is your looping. So if you click on this, it opens up a box. You can grab a hold of these little toggle marks, and then it will loop across that particular section. I'm going to take this one. Actually, oops, went way too far. I didn't want to loop the rest. And there we go. Okay, so now we just hit this. So you can see it plays over and over again, and just to turn it off, you toggle it off. This makes your screen nice and big. If you want to fill up your screen, I'm going to bring it back. The volume button, adjust your volume, your overall volume. Metronome, you can play with a metronome. This gives you the metronome volume as well. And we'll close that. Oops, let's turn the metronome off. This gives you sort of your visual look of the sound. This one gives you the piano keyboard. And if you look over here, you see part 1. So what it will do is it'll show you so if you change parts over here, that's what will show in the piano keyboard. And then if we go to the settings menu, you can zoom in or zoom out depending on what works for you. You can turn the parts on and off. So this is actually what's in the music. So right now we're just looking at part 1. Now let's say we want to have 2 parts in here. Or just part 3 or all the parts, and then you see all parts show up. Transposition, you can bring it down or transpose up. You can print it. You can play it with a count in. This is where if you have a loop, you can say, I only want to play my loop once. I don't want to play it over and over again. Horizontal view gives you the long view of the music. And then a variety of other things that you can do to kind of customize what you're actually doing here. So it's a very cool addition, I think, to the music that I think you will enjoy playing around with and probably will come in quite handy as we go virtual, non-virtual. So here we are with suggestions. So as you teach each piece, how would you introduce the piece to the student? You know, what do you want them to remember about it? What do you want them to love about the experience? You can sing it and then play it if we're allowed to play, and then breaking down each piece into nuggets that they can be successful at. And then one of the ideas that one of the lead teachers at Carnegie recommended, which I think is really cool, is have the kids write their own music and then make a book out of it. And then you can use that music just as fun, kind of as a reward, or even for warm-ups, depending on what it is. Singing tips, everyone can sing and be a positive role model. And the example that I give is my husband, who's junior high and high school vocal teacher told him to keep his mouth shut, or actually just mouth the words and not sing. And so he doesn't think he can sing to this day. So um, that wasn't a good thing. Relate your singing to talking and the level. If you're able to use loud levels, singing can use a little higher level of voice than talking can. So use all your lungs. And what do I want my kids to remember about singing? How do you want them to love it? The vocal exercises, warm up, and rubrics under fundamentals are great. So if you're looking for any new ideas on vocal exercises or how to tie in the music with this, some of those videos are very good. Ode to Joy. This is one of the probably beginning ones because your basic recorder just uses G and A. You can sing it, you can use a basic recorder, and it does have a recorder star. So why do I like teaching recorder? Well, as I do link up, one of the things I think of is that everyone is a beginner in recorder. Even when I don't play it all the time, it's like every time I pick it up, yeah, I'm still a beginner. You can pick it up and you can make a sound right away and be pretty successful at it. Kids are able to figure out what's going wrong on their own. You know, there's only really a couple of things that can go wrong. Either you're blowing too hard or you're not covering the holes. So they can start to troubleshoot and really analyze their own problems. And the recorder and voice are so very similar, you know, so how do you link the recorder to the voice to the note on the page? And you can do some flashcards to cue teacher or student actions. Like for example, the teacher's gonna sing G and then you guys all sing G and then, or the students are going to play G. So those are some ideas. And there's additional recorded videos as well. There's a recorder expert and she's quite amazing in the fundamentals section. Simple Gifts, another song that's not too difficult to play. Your basic recorder has the G, A, and B. So some other teaching strategies that have been shared with me on the link up material. So look for those common note patterns and start to teach those first. If the class doesn't know how to read music, maybe pick some simple symbols and names. You know, instead of using G, A, and B, maybe use a bear, rattlesnake, and a skunk. Or if it's my grandson, he likes sharks. And then point to the picture and memorize that, how it goes together. Break down your reading the note names and playing with note understanding. So you say a G, then you sing a G, and then you play it with recorder fingers so they can start to relate all across those different mental levels. I'm also a big proponent of teaching. I think you learn more from teaching than you do from being a student. So have your students teach some of those sections to their peers. And if you want to look at page 31 and 32 in your manual, there's some really good peer and self-assessments, very simple ones that you can use with your students. You change the location, as with we are in our COVID environment, you can bring it outside to practice. And then at the end of the year, one of the ideas that I always thought was really good, again, from the lead teacher at Carnegie, she says, ask your fourth grade class how they would teach next year's fourth grade class. What was their takeaway? So going through the rest of the music, the New World Symphony, on recorder, it's going to teach that breath control on the low register. To Make Words Sing is usually one of the favorites of the kids, and it shows how the melody and the text relate to each other. It gives you some help with sustained notes. You can learn how to do an interlude on a recorder. How do you count? A change from, in time signatures. And then there's a good composition activity that goes along with this too. Oye is the one we get to dance to. So the Spanish translation and then some pictures are actually found on 28 and 29 to give you some help. And then let me also show you where you can find it on the website. So if you go to the website, I'm going to go back up to the top under link up, orchestra sings, concert repertoire, Oye. And then if you go down to videos, this video right here, she walks you through all the choreography step by step, and then as a whole with her kids. So it's a very good video to watch. And we have repertoire activities starting on page 33. So if you look at the composition activity on page 40, you have two poems. You have The City and you have To Make Words Sing. So from here, you can say, how are composers inspired to make melodies from words? What is the meaning? What was going on behind it? What images does this represent? You can create a rhythm that goes with the melodic contour, the melody, and then record it. And it's kind of interesting. I have talked to one of my friends who is actually a composer, but to hear how she composes music and what the thoughts are behind her and then how it all comes out is really quite interesting. So being a composer versus being a player are two different things. Some additional website activities. You have melodies are made up of patterns. They can be connected to words. They can be varied. You can play them together. Melodies can tell stories. So these are all great activities you can do with your kids, especially if we're not able to play much with them. And then active listening. So the Firebird story, which is on page 48, is all about listening. You'll see a listening map there, and you have to really let the kids know that just because I'm listening doesn't mean I'm doing nothing. I'm thinking. What is the story that's being created? Can you create a scenario where the kids are eager to listen? And so I've heard the song before, but now what do I hear differently? Do I hear a new rhythm? Do I hear a new instrument? Maybe the song that I'm listening to reminds me of a book. Could Harry Potter have come out of somebody listening to Firebird? And then Stravinsky uses the same 4-bar phrase while he brings the stone statues to life. But how does he do that? And it's not boring. And as a musician, I like to say listening is just as important as playing. We need audience members to listen and understand and enjoy our music. But as musicians, I also need to listen to what's going on around me and understand the music through listening in order to play it appropriately too. The instrument families, again, you can jump to the various sections. You have the exploration, identifying the instruments, being a conductor, ensembles, young person's guide to the orchestra. Some additional resources on page 71. You have additional information about the Firebird and Simple Gifts, musical skills assessment. They have a lot of really good assessments involved with the link up material. And if you need more information on it, there's a huge book that you can find. I can show you where that is. The Facebook page, I'd like to really say that the Carnegie Hall Link Up Facebook page is great. So is the Carnegie Hall Music Educators Facebook page, and I did send links to that. If you're interested in the learning standards or the Common Core state initiatives, there's more information in the additional resources. some assessment tools, and then there's an audio track list. So if you want to actually download the audio to any of this music, the audio comes with just play along or total audio or just the voices, and then also soprano recorder fingering chart. So that is it. And I hope you enjoy Link Up. And as you work through the material, if you come up with any ideas, especially in this year where everything is so different, please share them with me. I'm more than happy to share them with all of the other teachers, or consider it as far as, if it's something that the orchestra can do to help you out too. Uh, just keep me posted and have fun. Thank you.